Good morning, young people. I'm back again. My friend Max Barbary said, I need to talk to you. So I'm here to talk to you. Today I'll talk to you about leadership. Everyone wants to be a leader. Everyone wants to be a leader. Well, but there are categories of people who don't want to be leaders, they want to be followers. But there's some who don't even want to be leaders or followers, they just want to be bystanders. So I'm sure I'm talking to you and you want to be a leader. In short, in a 10 or 15 minutes time, I will try to take you onto your leadership journey, right? I will talk about what it takes to be a leader, what skills are essential for someone to become a leader, what you should be doing to become an effective leader. Before we go into your thing of the journey of leadership, let's look at the general overview of leadership in our country. We live in Pakistan, so we need to see what the leadership has been like in Pakistan. I'm quoting from an article published in the Young Group's English newspaper, which is called the News International. The title of this article is Leadership Crisis in Pakistan, right? Similar articles also keep appearing in the other publications and so on and all that, but I quote from this. It says, founder of Pakistan, Mr. Muhammad Ali Jinnah, his dream to make Pakistan a prosperous, democratic country in its real sense still remains a dream. As we are still in search of a leader who could lead the nation like a leader. It's not my own. I just quoted you from the newspaper. So I take no responsibility. But like I said, I'm no political analyst and I have no authority on politics. But based on whatever I've seen in my life, whatever I've observed, I feel that the circumstances were such after Mr. Jinnah passed away, the people who came into power, for them it was more important to act as a politician than the leader. In my opinion, as I see, it had been a struggle for survival. Whether we like it or not, it's my opinion. You could have difference of opinion, all that, all that. On the business front, the country has witnessed not one, but hundreds or maybe thousands of outstanding leaders. I have this friend, young friend, Ejad Nisar of the CEO Club. He's compiled a whole publication. He's written, got this book, in which he talks about the outstanding leader, their background, their thinking, and so on and all that. If you get your hands on this and you look at all this, it will possibly be going to help you. I basically salute Ejad Nisar for the work that he has put in. I haven't put in that work. Ejad has put in for them. But before we go on to more serious thing, I would like to talk about two people that you possibly haven't heard of, because I don't think any book has mentioned them. They were visionaries. To me, in my opinion, they were visionaries. One was a gentleman called Usman Allah Wala, and another was Mr. Ismail Saab, who's better known as the father of Dr. Mifta Ismail. These two people, if you look at the way they worked, they had obviously no fancy education. They had no millions coming from the family. It was their vision, it was their effort, it was their approach. Both of them built empires. Both of them built empires. And I still look upon them and I compare them to any major business leader that you have in the country. Then another one that you're very familiar with is Abdul Sattar Idi. Did he have money? One little room in the Kagzi Bazaar, very little resources, and he had a vision. He had a mission. And what ED Foundation today is, it's a legacy of ED, Abdul Sattar ED, who lives on. Okay, now let's come over to your leadership journey. And let's talk about why leadership is important. There are 1,000 things that you will find in magazines, publications, books, and so on, all that. Why effective leadership is important. I'm just going to take three things. First is that if you're a good, effective leader, you'd be able to retain your employees. That means it's a talent reduction. Not reduction, I'm sorry, my old age, talent retention. So you work on people, they're brilliant, you help them grow, you help them develop, and walk away if your leadership is not right. But if you're an effective leader, first thing that happens is that there is employee retention. You have the best of the people working in your organization. As a result of this, second thing that happens is, which is the most important thing in our world of today, is the customer service. Because today the world has changed. None of us have any monopoly. There's competition. The customer has choices. He can walk away to another one. So you need to have not only a good product, because your competitors also have a good product. You also need to have a service mindset, which is your mind, which is your heart, which is all this that you need to have. Now, if you have these two things, the automatic result is going to be improved productivity. Today, let's be honest about it. It's the productivity of an organization with obviously the quality that puts the success. You have to make things not only better, you also have to make things cheaper, more affordable, and so on and all this. So these are the three areas I look at, but like I told you that you can read books, you can read magazines, and you'll find so many other things. Now, what are some of the characteristics of the effective leader? This I'm, quoting from the Harvard Business Review. One of the articles that I picked up is first characteristic, obviously, of a leader is his ability to influence others. Influence is different from pushing. So effective leader has the capability of influence leader, working toward higher goals, growth, excellence, all this. Second thing is that, which I feel, there must be something in your leadership which there is some transparency. I mean, obviously transparency to a certain extent. There are obviously things that you cannot be sharing with everyone. But then transparency, people should be able to see why you're doing certain things. Why you're asking them to do certain things. Do you also do those things? Or do you have a different, set of, thing for themselves and for them? So there must be transparency and leadership. People should be able to see. Second thing, which is very important, is that I personally think is that a good leader should encourage risk taking and help people with innovation. As Tom Peters once said, that let us punish all mediocre successes and reward all brilliant failures. Obviously, it's not that easy as it's said. But then the thing is that if you're aiming only to reach the mountain, you will reach it. But the thing is that you aim at reaching the moon. Maybe you will not do it the first time, second time, but so you have a higher goal. Then comes in, which is I talked to you, I think the last time also, is integrity. You can have all the qualities, a leader can have all the qualities in the world, but he is lacking in integrity, he's no leader. No business in a long term will survive if the leader does not have credibility. Now, together with the credibility, I also want to add something which is not much talked about with the leaders, is the accountability. A leader must be as accountable as the chauffeur or the security guard in his organization. Accountability must be there. And lastly, which is, you've all heard about it, is that a leader must demonstrate resilience. Resilience is very important. Resilience is the one that makes people, aspired and so on and all that. Now, first of all, let us think of and try to compare the process versus the vision. To become a leader, there is a path which you need to follow, which is not easy. It's a lot of hard work. You want to be a leader, but you don't want to be the thing that is it, which is in which the first thing that comes up is your transition from management to leadership. Till yesterday, you were with the other managers. You were joking, you were laughing, sometimes making fun of the top management. But then now you are promoted and you have the position of leadership. Till yesterday, it was all about yourself. But today, it's all about others. Not about yourself, it's about others. If others succeed, you will also succeed. Now, effective leadership is centered around a vision to guide the people to change. On the political side, we've had examples of Lee Kuan in Singapore, Mahathir in Malaysia, and Sheikh Mohammed's father in Dubai. Now let's look at Singapore. It was a sinking economy, high level of corruption, and they were not competitive in anything. But the leader comes in and he takes the people with him toward making Singapore a success story. Malaysia obviously was a country with very high resources. It had lots of things. But then they weren't as competitive as the other nation. Then came in Mahathir. He was able to come up with a vision. Not 2 years, 10 years. It was a 20, 25 years vision. He worked on it, and Malaysia also became a success story. Dubai, as my memory goes, it was a fisherman's village. I would have never wanted to go and live in Dubai or even have a holiday in Dubai. But Sheikh Mohammed's father, remember, Dubai has no oil, had a vision. He worked on it, and Sheikh Mohammed today not only continues the vision, he's taking the country ahead. Today, if you look at the icons of success, Dubai is one of the ones that you're going to be talking about. Okay. Now, let's see what as a manager you were doing. Your job was to set out to achieve the organizational goals. And how did you do them? You did them by implementing processes such as budgeting, organizational structuring, staffing, and yes, you were successful. But then when you become a leader, when you become a leader, you have to be more intent of thinking ahead and capitalizing on opportunities with your team, with your people. And another thing which is very important, which many of us don't have been not so good at, leaders and managers are different in the way. Managers are very strong on the second function of management, which is called the organization. Leaders, on the other hand, are very strong on the third function of management, which is leadership, or I sometimes call it leadership, leading, motivating, inspiring, or whatever you call it. So they put greater emphasis on the third one. The manager focuses on systems and structure. Leaders, on the other hand, are less focused on how to organize people or get one done. They're more on finding ways how you align the people, how you get them together, how you inspire them, how you motivate them, how you make them achieve the impossible. Third thing, which is also very important, is position versus quality. Manager is a title, it's a role and a set of responsibilities that we have. Leadership, on the other hand, is action. Leaders act in a way that inspires, encourages, motivates, and engages others. This is the difference between the leader and the manager. There are obviously some leadership skills and qualities that we need to develop to become effective leader. First skill, as most of us agree, and it's become very popular, is called, you know, have this thing on the emotional intelligence. Now, if you have access to Harvard Business Review somehow or the other, you can access a Harvard Business Review article which was published about 20 years ago, which said, what makes a leader? It's by Daniel Goleman, the man who introduced emotional intelligence to all of us. Right. So emotional intelligence has become more important in today. In the old days, we used to talk about, the IQ and all that, and now we talk about the EQ. Now, in the emotional intelligence, first thing right at the top is self-awareness. You and I need to know who we are, what we can do, what we want. We need to do that. 2,500 years ago, Aristotle said that to know thyself is the beginning of the wisdom. Even today, it holds true. It is there, whether we like it or not. Self-awareness, you will develop understanding of what we can do. It'll help you coming up with a mission statement. It'll help you balance between the possible and the impossible. Second thing in the emotional intelligence, as you would know, is about self-regulation. Self-regulation is very important because basically it refers to how you and I can manage our own emotions, behaviors, and impulses. If we can do that, we can avoid a lot of conflicts which happen in day-to-day life. Now, if you recognize what you're feeling, why you're feeling, then obviously you'd be able to respond more appropriately. Third is empathy. which is your capability of understanding other people's experiences and emotions. Many years ago, my late friend Ramiz Lawala defined empathy as your ability to think with the others. Empathy and sympathy must not be confused. They're two different things altogether. So, empathy, as Ramiz Alawala said, is your ability to think with the other. And that's what it is. Now, by actively listening to your team members and taking time to understand what they want, what they need, then you can boost engagement and obviously build trust. Then comes in motivation. Then this I think is very important because I feel we live in a country which has, mashallah, a population of about 250 million. But when you go around and try to see, do we have a population or a majority of population which is motivated? I guess you'll find the answer yourself. I don't have to tell you anything about it. So basically, this refers to your ability to not only inspire yourself and others to action, it's also very important that it must come in from inside. You must have in college or school heard about the external motivation or the internal. I personally think a motivation has to be internal to give you the results externally. However, but that's only my opinion. I personally think that if you are not motivated yourself, then there's no bloody chance that you'd be able to motivate anybody else. Then comes in social skills, which is all about how you perceive the emotions of others, interact and communicate with people. Now, leaders, a very strong skills know, and you'd also know, that you can't achieve success alone. You have to be working with people. And that's where the social skills become very important. Then another thing that comes in, which I think I mentioned earlier, my first thing was that, which is the employee engagement. Now, employee engagement is something where I found the level was not very high in many of the organizations that I had the opportunity to observe. Maybe I only had a limited opportunity. I'm not talking of government offices. I'm not talking government department. I'm talking of private commercial organization. And lots of places, when I talked to the employees and wanted to talk to them about the problem, the answer was, hey, don't ask me. I only work here. I work for my salary. Now, but that kind of a thing is mean that the employee engagement is not there. Now, how do you build up employee engagement? First thing is to connect your people with all level. Most of us have this thing of having this core kind of a team around us. There are eyes and ears, and we connected with them. We work with them and so on and all that. But we're leaving the rest of the organization out. You take any of these large commercial organizations, and many of the organizations, people have never even seen the members of the board of directors ever. Or forget about what about the chief executive. So there is actually no connection. But like I said, you have to make an effort to know your people. And as I always tell people that, you know, it's important that we connect with people at all stages. We give them a feedback, give them a recognition, whether it's your chauffeur, whether it's your gardener, whether it's your cook, whether it's your maid, whoever it is, learn to give them recognition. Know something about them. I'm not saying, you start rubbing shoulders with them. But the thing is that it's important that you. Now, here is something which I very strongly feel. We need to give respect to everyone within our organization or even outside the organization. Now, let me do a scenario for you. Somebody is a sweeper, another guy is a security guard, the third one is a chauffeur. To me, they are in that position because of birth of accident. Let me go to my own example. If I was not born in the home of a mid level bureaucrat, do you think I would have been able to go to school or to college or to the university? Do you think if I was born in the home of a sweeper, I would be able to afford the lifestyle that I have? The great probability is if I was born in the home of a sweeper, I would be sweeping your toilets. So, what's so great about you or me sitting in a position? Remember, it's nothing but a birth of accident. If a sweeper was born in your father's home, he possibly will not be a sweeper. He would have had all the education. He would have been executive. So learn to give respect. No matter whether it's a peon, the security guard, or anyone. Take it down to the lowest level. Learn to say thank you for every little thing. Whatever the thing is, come and say thank you. Let them feel that you're grateful to them for what they're doing to you. Let them give them that feeling. And I tell you, respect begets respect. And you'll only be a gainer. You'll have nothing to lose. But thanking people, being nice to them, giving them the respect and so on and all that. Because it is something which they will appreciate. And like I said, always remember you and I are sitting in certain position just by accident of birth. If a birth had been in a very low income group or in a very poor income group, we possibly will not be sitting in such position. Okay, I will not go and talking about more on this thing and all that. I think I need to wind up because I know your attention is not something which goes on for very long. But before I close, I want to talk about change. On change, the first thing that you need to understand is that the world has changed. The world has changed. Millennials and Gen Z are here. They're nothing like my generation, which is the baby boomer generation. They're not even anything like the Gen X. They're different. And they're different style of working. They have their own dreams, which are very different. We need to develop an understanding about these people. We need to harp on their potential. We need to help them grow, develop, succeed, and excel. It is a responsibility. And how do we do it? First, we need to change ourselves. Don't try changing them. Change yourself. I personally would say that in the organization that I have been, they're all talking about managing change, managing change. Now, in my opinion, if you're talking of managing change, you've already lost. If you're talking of managing change, you've already lost. You need to be ahead of change. You need to be creating change if you want to be a success story. We have today examples of Elon Musk and Jack Ma and all these other people today who brought in the change. Amazon is one example which has happened in my lifetime. From a from a books online bookstore that they started, they're possibly one of the largest merchandising operations in the world. We've seen it. Now, as I said, our world has changed dramatically over the last 30 years, and it'll change at a much faster pace in the time to come. Now, before we close, I'll just tell you something. I hope that inspires you, that motivates you. Some 25 years ago, I did a program for PricewaterhouseCooper, which was titled, Yes, You Can Make Things Happen. What was the title of my program? Yes, You Can Make Things Happen. Remember, Obama and all these people came at least 5 or 10 years later. I was there much ahead of these guys. Now, what I want to tell you is, what my message to is, young people, you have the potential. You have everything that makes a leader. You have everything that makes a success. So my message is, yes, you can make things happen. Go out and make things happen. Thank you, and thank you very much. Thank you.